Thank you very much for calling me up.
Yeah.
And I think I've been really good at being a deliberate creator as well as manifester.
We think so too. But no one's taking score, so those are sort of superfluous, unnecessary words.
Correct. But what I'm getting at is...
But if you're satisfied, if you like how it's going, that's what counts.
Okay. Thank you. One question I have is with regards to the feeling in which I have when I'm looking to create, when I'm looking to manifest.
To feel like enthusiasm?
It does.
Eagerness?
Yes, absolutely. And then I find that once I've created or manifested those items or those things, that it's almost as if that feeling has become fleeting and
it'll dissipate.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I just wonder whether or not it's the feeling that I should always be looking to manifest as opposed to the actual items.
Yeah. Because the feeling will bring the items or the people or the experiences or the whatever. It's like this. So here you stand and you're exploring. You know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and you're launching the rockets. So you throw your marble into your inner being's marble bag, but you've still got your own marbles that you're focused on. So you're not a match yet, but you want to feel good. So you begin doing a more deliberate, clarifying job of what you focus on, unrelated to what you think you're creating. You're looking for the positive aspects of any moment that you're in, or any thought that you're in, any memory that you're in. You're just deliberately contouring, calibrating to good feeling thoughts. So you're matching up more and more to what's in your inner being's vortexual, vibrational reality bag of marbles, and you're closing that gap, closing that gap, closing that gap. And you know you are because you're feeling satisfied for no good reason, satisfied for no good reason, satisfied for this reason and for this one and for this one. And then the gap's closed. Well, there you are. And you have this brief moment in time where those thoughts turn to things. And you have this exhilaration of manifestation that you can see, that you can feel proud of, that you can own, and that even others can see. Boom, there it is. And along with that manifestation is a whole new set of contrasting experiences. It's like that. You go out there, you're not a match, you become a match if you want to be. Boom, manifestation. Whole new set of contrasting experiences. We like it so much when you finally catch on that it never was about the thing that came from the thought. It always was about the closing the gap, because that feels so good. The new idea and the clarification of it and the cooperative components gathering and the sweetness of it and the bigness of it and the exhilaration of it and the feeling of invincibility of it as you feel yourself closing in on it and closing in on it and closing in on it. And then boom, the manifestation of it. And then new perspective. New ideas that weren't even available to you before, specifics that you couldn't even have conjured before because you had to come here before you could go there. And the universe designed to uniquely cater to your specific interests. That's how blessed you are. That's how worthy you are. That's how fantastic you are. That's what good creators you are. A universe that is set up just to yield to your ability to expand. You assign those faculties to what you want to call God, while most humans relegate themselves to humble servants that live off something other than that. But you are creator. You are that, you see. And your inner being is just calling you toward it and calling you toward it and calling you toward it.
Right.
We want you to get hooked on the feeling of the creation, not on the things of the creation, because as you say, the things are going to come and go. Esther didn't ever want to let go of that little family. She met up with them again in the bathroom. In other words, she just wanted more of them. But you know what? She'll find them in lots of other places, in lots of other faces. Now she's tasted the deliciousness of that, and it's active in her vibration, and she's thinking about it a lot. She'll see that in lots of other places.
Right. When we talk about vibrational frequency, and you talk about being tuned in, turned on, tapped in, and you've mentioned before about, if the tuning into a radio station, you want to be at 93.7 for the the job, the money, the car that you want. How do you know that, you talk about if you're...
It's the satisfaction factor. We haven't talked about it today. You all know it anyway, but we've defined basically 3 steps to the process. Step 1 is the contrast causes you to ask. Step 2 is the law of attraction in your inner being. Focus and gather the cooperative components and set it right there for you to do step 3, which is let it in. And so
is there necessarily a specific frequency then, if it's just more about letting it in? And
well, we can't define the frequency because Esther doesn't have the mathematical or the scientific vocabulary for it, but we can speak it to you in emotional terms, and love is that highest, purest frequency. And it's the purity of the frequency. It's the purity of it. It's the lack of resistance in it. It doesn't have to be a strong signal. If it's not being contradicted with other signals being included, it is a strong signal. That's the best way of saying it. So it's appreciation, love, exhilaration. It's those feelings. But as our friend was saying earlier, it takes a little while for the momentum to gather about that. It might start out just feeling peaceful or fun or interesting or slightly interesting. We would encourage all of you, as a result of this conversation, in the next day or two, we never assign homework, but this is a fun game. Pick a subject that you've not had much interest in. Just softly focus on it. It could be a thing. It could be a place. It could be just about any subject, but something that you don't have a lot of knowledge or current interest about. When Jerry and Esther moved to Tucson, and there were the big saguaros that were standing out in the desert, and Esther said, let's bring one home. And Jerry said, you can't just go get one of those. They're permitted. And Esther said, I don't know how we'd get it home anyway. And then they turned a corner, and there was one on a truck. And the truck had big claws, like a backhoe is a big shovel. It had big claws, and apparently it just picked one up and put it there. And Jerry said, we've never talked about this before. I didn't even know you really wanted one of those. We never had the discussion, how do you move one? And within 2 minutes, we're witnessing somebody moving one. Well, that's the way the universe works if you have a thought that is pure. And the fact that it was a new thought, Esther hadn't thought, oh yeah, I've always wanted one of those, but I've never been able to move one. Or I tried to move one and it fell on my cat and killed it. There was no contradictory energy, and so in its purity, it came fast. There are things that you want that you don't have purity about because you beat them to death with your doubt. In other words, you've heard too much, you know too much. Your mother talked about it before you even were old enough to understand what words she was saying. It's complicated, but the law of attraction makes it not complicated. The law of attraction just sorts it out. So your work, we're over time here, we'll take a segment of refreshment soon. Your work, if you're really wanting to have fun at this, is just to find thoughts that feel good and focus on those until you can really feel your enthusiasm for whatever it is growing, and then watch how the universe responds, not to the bigness of your thought, to the clarification of your thought, to the pureness of your thought, to the pure, sweet desire. Because when you ask, it is given. But how do I get it out of the vortex into my greedy clutches? You ask in belief. Well, that's the part that takes a little practice. You have to stumble on some pure thoughts and see how fast they come. And then you have to find some thoughts that aren't that pure, that are all contradicted because you've heard too much about it, you've watched too much television, there's too many people have too many opinions about it, so you're all jumbled on this thought, and it's not going to clear up for you anytime soon, but you care enough about it that you've decided that you're going to clear it up. So you deliberately put your marbles in the bag on that subject and on that subject and then that subject. And the law of attraction, who is always true to you, shows you each and every clarified improvement that you make until you've got the hang of this. You say, oh, this is not hard. This is about me choosing and me staying true to what I've chosen. This is a really good time.
Thank you so
much.